WEEE Center as a company, what we do is manage electronic waste. Electronic waste is anything that is electrical or electronic that has either been overtaken by technology or has become obsolete. So this means your old mobile phones or fridges, microwaves, cables, all these gadgets that you see people using. And you realize that in Africa, there are no organizations that are able to handle electronic waste properly. So for us, we found need to have a facility that is able to ensure that all these devices, once they reach end of life, they are properly disposed so that they are not causing any harm to the environment and also to the consumers, be it people, be it plants and animals, because they contain toxic metals and heavy metals. So if these heavy metals get into contact with our water bodies or the soil, you find it becomes very contaminated. And from the composition of most of, in fact, all of these electrical devices, you find the heavy metals, if not properly handled, they bring along so many diseases like cancer, kidney failures, and the like. So our responsibility as a company is to ensure that the environment is safe and also people are safe. And we are also at the same time creating employment. So we started off in 2007. Initially, we were operating as a department of Computers for Schools Kenya. Computer for Schools Kenya was established way before in 2002. So now WEEE Center came in to handle the e-waste for the country. But currently, we are even handling for our neighboring countries. We're also setting up operations in about 15 other African countries because we want to develop together as one. We don't want Kenya to just develop in isolation. But when it comes to matters of e-waste management, I can say Kenya is way far above all other countries in Africa in terms of e-waste management. And part of that is because of the contribution of what WEEE Center has been able to do over the several years that we've been operating. So for the first thing when it comes to e-waste management is we have to create awareness. So this awareness has to be created in the public domain. So the public first have to understand why is it important for them to dispose of the e-waste in a proper way. That's number one. Number two, they also have to understand what are the dangers associated with the improper disposal. So once we create that awareness, now we move into collection. From when we started, there's been tremendous growth in terms of awareness. Once now people are aware, they will look for you. We get people who look for us online. They go to either our website or social media platforms and say, we have this e-waste that we want to dispose. And now we either go to them. So if it's a company, we go to the company because again, for large e-waste, you have to be licensed by NEMA to transport. So you find we can either use our vehicles to go and collect the e-waste, or the people can drop off at our collection points. So we have 8 regional offices in the country. We have offices in Nairobi, this facility. We have another one in Mombasa, there's Kisumu, there's Kakamega, there's Nanyuki, there's Embu, there's Nakuru. Now, people in those counties or regions can drop off e-waste in those areas. Also, we've partnered with Safaricom. Safaricom, they have about 39 outlets countrywide that they run. These Safaricom shops, we've put up collection bins in partnership with Safaricom. So somebody can drop off their e-waste at those Safaricom outlets, and then it will be collected and it will end up at the WEEE Center. So those are the various ways. And also what we're looking at partnering with more companies so that they can have collection points within their premises. We're also exploring partnerships with shopping malls so that as you go for shopping, you can also drop off whatever electronic waste you have. We also do estate drives where we go to an estate over the weekend after, of course, creating sensitization, and we're able to put our trucks there. People are able to bring the electronic waste. Of course, that argument is there. In fact, it is human nature. People want to be given something so that they can give whatever it is. They also feel that there's value in e-waste. And so the approach we are taking is we need to be sustainable. So the moment we go into the business of giving incentives, you find the operations of waste center will not be sustainable. That is one. Number two, we have to create a culture whereby people know the environment is ours. We found it here, we need to take care of it, and we will still leave it here. If you don't take care of the environment, it will not take care of you. So we have to create that mentality so that it comes naturally. You don't have to be pushed to dispose your e-waste. That will be the easiest way. Whether there is law, there is no law, whether somebody is giving incentives or they're not giving incentives, you just find it is the best practice and it's the best thing to do. So that's the other thing. The third thing, if you start giving incentives, say you give people money, you tell them if you bring 10 televisions to WEEE Center for disposal, we'll give you X money. You now create another problem. People start stealing from one another. You bring 20 televisions, 50 mobile phones, WEEE Center will give you money equivalent to what you've disposed. But now you've created another problem. So it has to be handled in a way that it is sustainable and it brings good coexistence between the environment and also with the people. Once equipment they are made, in fact, before even manufacturing equipment, you need to design them. So they have to be designed in a way that they will be used for a long time. Because if you go wrong in the design, it means they will not be used for a long time. So you look at the design, you make sure it is proper design, then you move to manufacturing. If you manufacture the equipment, it has to be manufactured in a way that it will also last. Then you move from manufacturing, you take it to the consumer. When it comes to the consumer is also supposed to be aware of the equipment they're using and then use it for whatever period they want to use it for. Then after using them, you come in and extend the lifespan of that equipment again. Yeah. So like now here, you find whatever equipment that can be reused. For example, computers. We donate them to Computers for School scale and they're able to do refurbishment. Now, when it comes to the reusing, when you're reusing equipment, they have to be first refurbished because of course you do not want to have your laptops or your mobile phone being reused by another person and they still have data. And also if the other person is reusing your laptop or mobile phone, they also need to make the best use out of it. So for that to happen, they need to be refurbished. You need to have it upgraded in terms of performance. And then now when that happens, this new user will also use it for some time. Now when it reaches end of life, when it cannot now be extended, it's supposed now to come back to a facility like WEEE Center for disposal. Now when it comes to us, now it has come for disposal. We will again collect. In fact, if it is data carrying equipment, we must destroy the data properly and safely to make sure that the client's data is safe. After data destruction, we now move again to doing the inventory of the equipment, maybe getting the serial number and then the details of that equipment, the model and all those. And then after getting that, we also take the tonnage to know what is the tonnage of the equipment that you dispose as a disposer. So if it's company X, we'll take all the equipment that you dispose through WEEE Center, take the serial numbers, take the tonnage, and now sort them according to the kind of equipment it is. And then the next stage would be dismantling. You dismantle everything so that you get fractions. After dismantling, it comes in as an equipment, but now when it is dismantled, we get fractions. So these fractions are handled differently. So the fractions might be, you find there will be plastic, metal, circuit boards, you'll see them back there. So each of those fractions is handled separately. Like for plastics, we have a machine that is able to shred the plastic. Once it is shredded, if it is mixed with other forms of plastic, we have companies who are making plastic fencing poles that we partner with, so they take that. We also have companies that are making lubricants from that plastic. Others are able even to make diesel. So now that is properly handled. Metal, it is smelted so you get new metal. For cables, you have a machine, it's called a cable stripper. Strips the cable, removes the plastic. You remain with your pure, let's say, copper. And copper also again goes back to the market. The CRT glass, we have a CRT cutter. It's able to separate the CRT properly to the glass, the plastic, and this phosphor powder that it sucked. Now, in the absence of that machine, people just break those monitors carelessly, and they inhale the powder that is there. It is very dangerous. So with that machine, at least you're able to handle it properly. Now, with those that we cannot handle in this facility, they are well packaged, and then we've partnered with so many other, they're called downstream recyclers. When it comes to the business of e-waste management, you cannot do everything alone. You have to partner with different players in the industry. So you find we know where to take what. And these are facilities we've visited before and vetted them, and we know their processes. And we know that whatever treatment they do, it is environmentally friendly. So nothing will end up again in the environment. For batteries, we're also taking them. You'll see we have a battery facility where we have equipment that is able to test batteries that have charge and the ones that do not have charge. So the ones that have charge, we can reuse them. Now, we are making battery packs. You'll see those packs at the back there. So those are packs that again you can use them for powering your houses. For lighting, you can also use them on power tools if you have tools that run on batteries. And otherwise, these are batteries that would have been lying all over on the roads, on landfills. So we are taking them back, sorting them as per their chemical families, and then getting the ones that can be reused, we reuse, and we make those battery packs, and they go back to the market. The batteries that again we cannot reuse locally, now we ship to those companies abroad. They're able to extract the raw materials and make new batteries from those batteries. So in such an ecosystem, you've not thrown anything to the environment. You're returning raw materials to where they're supposed to be used. We don't have to go doing mining in the land, in the mines. Yeah. If you look at that kind of mining, there's a lot of controversy around that mining. But now with electronics, you can do urban mining, so that you find whatever raw materials that are already in existence, they are just evolving and recycled and reused. Yeah. So those are the operations that you will see here. But to guarantee you, nothing that comes to WEEE Center ends up again going to the environment. So the biggest, one of the biggest killers now of our current generation is improper disposal of waste. When you look at the rise of cancer, most of this equipment that we're interacting with, if it's a laptop, if it's the way it is not harmful. It becomes harmful when now you are not using it, and then you decide to dispose it improperly. So you find cancer is increasing because we are not being keen with how you're disposing e-waste. E-waste it needs specialized disposal. It's not like this other general waste. So as a company, in the coming years, you'll see we are really encouraging people to do segregation of their waste, so that in your house you don't need to have only one bin. You have a bin where you can put, if it is with paper, if it is plastic, if it is e-waste, and you have different people who can handle different waste streams. So e-waste is one of the leading e-waste streams that is causing cancer. It is also causing these funny diseases that you see, children that are born without limbs, others having different disabilities. So there is research to show that that is also attributed to e-waste. Things to do with kidney failures and other many complications. So the best way is, if you use your equipment and it reaches end of life, just look for a company that is able to do proper disposal of that equipment. You might think by you throwing it in the dustbin, you've sorted the problem, but you're just transferring the problem and it will come back to you. Because if you throw it in the dustbin, it probably end up in the landfill. The landfill, of course, when it rains, it will carry all that toxins with it go to the river. For example, Nairobi River. And I can tell you for sure, Nairobi River is really a mess, and it is killing us. And this is research that we did as an organization. So even before the publicity around Nairobi River happened, we've been having discussions to see how to handle that, because a lot of e-waste ends up in the river, and that river flows all the way to Indian Ocean, as you've seen. So it's killing a lot of population just because somebody somewhere threw their old monitor or mobile phone into the dustbin. Maybe you sold it to the informal sector. Somebody will just remove whatever parts they need, the rest they will throw. So what we can do as a country is just be responsible with how you're handling your electronic waste. Let's take it as a collaborative or collective responsibility. It is not our responsibility. And for now, it is a social business. For us, it gives us joy to see that the environment is becoming safe of electronic waste, and we'll continue doing that up to the time that we feel that people are safe, and we can say for sure that e-waste is not killing our population. So we have to do it jointly.